Hello, welcome to the PHONEWORD Workshops event on Wednesday, October the 8th, 2014. My name is Jay Carpenter, and we're going to be talking about the bounty program, the new bounty program that's designed to both foster the development of the PHONEWORD platform and collaboration within the PHONEWORD Workshops, as well as allow developers to showcase their talents and skill sets to companies and entities that might be potential sources of contract work, as well as potential full-time and part-time opportunities. So thank you for joining. I don't expect anyone to be joining us today. I was late in promoting this event. However, next week, next Wednesday, October the 15th, 2014, there'll be another workshop where if you have questions from what's presented today, you can join next week at 11 a.m. Eastern and talk about what's available for you through the PHONEWORD Workshops bounty program. So I'm going to go ahead and get started with the screen share, and we'll step through the presentation for today, which is available on PHONEWORDWorkshops.com. So please bear with me a moment while I pull this up. And you should be able to see it now. So we are using the single presentation. Let me get to the right place here. Bear with me. Okay. So I'm going to go to the next slide, and I'm going to pause just a moment just to make sure that okay, good, the slides are advancing. So, so what we're talking about today is a new program called the Bounty Program for PHONEWORD Workshops. And here's our agenda for today. We're going to be talking about the intention of the PHONEWORD Workshops, and then we'll go into some of the details of the Bounty Program. So the intention of the workshops is to foster a new realm of collaboration, also to develop a prototype for web and telephony connectivity services. We're also innovating in technology, business models, policy, and governance. And today, I would say we're delving into the realm of innovation in business models. So the fundamental value proposition of the PHONEWORD initiative is to take what we all experience as address chaos today. We've got all these different addresses, all these different locations, and they really don't work together. So what if we could create address harmony so that all the various addresses that we deal with in our day-to-day lives started to work together in a harmonized fashion? And that's really the intention, the core purpose of the PHONEWORD initiative. And in the PHONEWORD workshops, we're working on ways to collaboratively develop and bring to fruition a platform that will actually do this. So we're delving into the realm of exploration and innovation, and specifically in the Bounty program, the benefits for the software developers are an ability to participate and share in part of the total bounty that will be available, and also to be assured that there will be a minimum bounty guarantee if you're a developer or a designer and you choose to participate. In addition, by participating, you can have your choice of one virtual address, such as 101 England, and a virtual address that's somewhat akin to your name, could be identical to your name or your company's name, and that will give you something to actually prototype with and work with as this initiative moves forward. Also, by participating in the bounty program, assuming that you successfully complete a bounty task, that will give you a pathway to move on to the next and higher levels of participation in the bounty program. You'll also be able to collaborate with other developers. You will be evaluated by your peers, and you will evaluate your peers to determine who comes up with the best solution for a given problem or task or element that's being developed. You can also, as this progresses, you can propose various bounties. So there might be a particular thing that you see that you would like to work on, and once you've successfully participated in a bounty, you can start to propose your own projects that are aligned with the PhoneWord platform and what's being created in the realm of PhoneWord. So what's the benefit for a sponsor participating in the bounty program? Well, this is designed to be an innovative way to connect with highly sought after developers and designers. Now, keep in mind that we're just piloting this program and it's still in its formative stages, but this is a way for you as a company or some sort of enterprise or initiative, if you're interested in connecting with some of the best technical talent and design talent that's available, this is a great way to do it. The people that will be participating in the bounty program from the developer side, we intend to have some of the top level developers out there participating in this initiative. The developers, you'll be able to connect with developers that have chosen their particular projects to participate in, and you'll be able to see their results before you connect with them. Once you have become the winning sponsor, you can speak directly with developers and designers that, again, are highly sought after. There will be coding results and development results that they will evaluate among themselves to keep it as objective as possible. There will also be a debriefing session after the coding project or task has been completed, so that the developers and designers working on that task can share their experience, talk about it, evaluate what's produced by the 3 developer participants, and that will be recorded and will be available for review by the winning sponsor. In addition, you will give your company a profile within this developer community as being a company that's interested in being positioned in a progressive place within the marketplace for developers. You will be viewed as a company that's interested in supporting open source development, and I would suggest that that can be very much a benefit for your company and your team. You'll also be learning some leading edge development techniques, and basically this is designed so that if you or your company participates as a sponsor, particularly a winning sponsor, this whole initiative is designed so that your company can grow from the experience. So the stages of the bounty program are basically these. First of all, there'll be a public posting of the bounty. In other words, what is the task to be worked? Then developers will have a period of time to commit to the project, and it will be limited to 3 developers. And once the 3 developers have committed to the project, there will be a period where they can complete the task, complete the coding, complete the project. And the projects are designed to be fairly short projects, approximately 3 hours in duration for the coding. There are also going to be projects where it's perfectly fine to incorporate existing code that's already out there as long as it's open source, it's non-proprietary code. So if somebody sees an opportunity to incorporate existing code that would fit the purpose, that's fine. We're not expecting that all this code be written from scratch. And then once the developers, the 3 developers / designers, have completed the code or the project or the task, they will vote among themselves as to which solution is deemed to be the best solution. And there might be ties, and that's fine. However, this is an opportunity for the people that are involved, the developers and designers that are involved, to get feedback among themselves and to evaluate the work product of each other. So once the projects are submitted, the code is submitted, and the project's submitted at the end of the development period, then the bounty reverse auction will start among a set of sponsors that are interested in becoming winning sponsors of the project. Once a winning sponsor emerges, in other words, once the bounty is paid by a sponsor and they become a winning sponsor, then there'll be an interview period where the winning sponsor can connect directly with the 3 developers / designers that participated in this particular bounty. Once those conversations have been completed, either by phone, in person, or in a virtual manner like a Google Hangout, then the bounty is complete. So let's take a look at an example. Let's assume that on day 1, next Monday, October the 13th, a bounty is posted. And it's our intention that a bounty will be posted on October the 13th. And let's assume that the bounty is to build a open source browser-based dialer. And I'll show an example of that later on. But fairly simple project, doesn't have to be elaborate, should take about 3 hours of coding time or time to research other dialers that are out there and come up with a solution. And the developers will have 1 week to complete that 3 hours, approximately 3 hours of work, and submit their results. Day 2, let's say the first developer sees this opportunity and commits to the project. In this case, it's Bill Smith. Bill Smith will be able to post his LinkedIn profile, also post any preferences Bill might have for working on projects, contract work, full-time, part-time, whatever. And also, if Bill has a preference for companies he would like to work with, he can post that interest as well. So after day 1, Tuesday, October the 14th, we have, in this hypothetical example, we have 1 of 3 developers are now committed. Day 2, Jill Smith, developer, sees the opportunity, sees the bounty. She's interested in working on this web-based dialer, and she commits to participate in the bounty. So there are 2 of 3 developers now committed. Day 4, we have Will Smith sees the opportunity or hears about the opportunity, and it could be that Bill, Jill, and Will know each other, and they get together and they say, hey, let's work on this. And that's perfectly fine. It could be a collaborative effort. It could be a competitive effort or some hybrid in between. And they decide they want to work on it, either individually or as a team or some sort of sub-team. So now three developers now committed to the project, and the project's a go, or the bounty's a go, and it's active. If a week passes and no developers have committed, or less than 3 have committed, then we will pull the bounty and reformulate it or do something to determine, what needs to be added or subtracted to have 3 people be interested in working on the bounty. Day 5 through 11, again, is the period of time where the bounty task can be worked, development can occur, and it's not intended that it's a full week project, but it's intended that it's probably about 3 hours. There's going to be time for questions. I anticipate that we'll have a session for the developer participants to get clarity around exactly what's being requested for the project, and they will have basically a week to submit something for the bounty task. At the end, when they've all 3 submitted something, then they will vote among themselves as to what was the best result. So in this example, Jill Smith will probably give herself 3 points. You got to assume that people are going to assume that their solution was the best. But then Jill will also be required to vote on Will as well as Bill and evaluate their projects. And it might be that Jill might be able to put her entire 3 points, remaining 3 points, the 2 plus the 1, to either Will or Bill. So at that point, once the code has been submitted or a solution to the task has been submitted, and once the developers have voted among themselves as to what was the best solution, now the bounty reverse auction becomes active. And in this case, days 12 through 23, the bounty will start off at a high amount and then be reduced by an equal amount per day until a winning sponsor steps forward and is willing to pay the bounty. So at this point, the bounty will be reduced by $200 per day until it would hit a floor of $800 if it gets that low. And that's the reverse auction schedule for the bounty. So let's assume that on day 14, when the bounty's at $2,600, JKL, well, we'll go through that example in a moment. But let's assume that on the 3rd day of the reverse bounty auction, which would be day 14, a company looks at the work product of the 3 developers, looks at the developers, and says, we're interested in talking with these people. And it's worth $2,600 for us to talk with them, have a conversation, as well as see their debrief session surrounding the project. And we're interested, we want to be the inside entity that connects with these 3 talented people. So at that point, we go into the next phase, and here is a breakdown of not only the bounty schedule, but also the split 80% to the developers, 20% to PhoneWord Workshops LLC, and then the amount that is awarded per developer at the various bounty levels. And again, with a minimum bounty amount of $213.33 per developer. So the developer is assured some amount to walk away with from their participation in this bounty process. And in addition, they're entitled to their choice of 2 virtual addresses. So we go to the next section, and in days 25 through 30, this is the time period where the winning sponsor has the ability to speak directly or connect directly with the bounty participants, the developer/designer. And the developer or designer agrees to have a 20-minute minimum conversation with the winning bounty sponsor. And we recommend that the first 10 minutes be used by the winning bounty sponsor to explain what they need in terms of their development skill set, interest from the developer. And then the remaining 10 minutes, we recommend that the developer explain to the winning bounty sponsor how they could be of service to the winning bounty sponsor. Then at that point, it's up to the developer and the winning bounty sponsor to either, come to some sort of common ground in terms of other projects they could work on or not, go their separate ways. There's no obligation. But once those conversations have been completed, then the per developer bounty amount is released to the developer. So if we go back up, so that would be anywhere from $800 to down to a minimum of $213. So here's an example. On the PhoneWord Workshops website, under the Federations tab, there's an example of a platform or project called 800 Hollywood. And we're not going to go through that, but if you're interested, you can go to PhoneWordWorkshops.com and look under the Federations and see the presentation, see a very basic example of the type of project that might be developed. And that project is basically posted on the first day in this example. Now, let's assume that the 3 developers that we've been talking about commit to the bounty. Bill, Jill, and Will Smith. Let's assume they're all not related. And they've committed to work the bounty. Then, after 1 week of time to produce their 3 hours of work or whatever it takes, they submit their code, their open source code. And then the next step is they each vote among themselves regarding what each one has produced. And basically, there should be some sort of indication as to a preference as to which one of the 3 within their view produced the best result. And it's anticipated we'll have a debrief session so they can talk with one another, exchange ideas, and that session will be recorded and available for viewing by the winning sponsor. So let's assume that out of the 5 sponsors, JKL Company wins the auction by setting a bounty at $2,600 or $867 per developer. And JKL will then be entitled to see the debrief session as well as have the 3 conversations, 3 20-minute minimum conversations with the 3 developer/designers. So once that happens, and they've got 5 days to complete those conversations, let's assume that Bill Smith takes on contract work for JKL, Jill Smith takes a full-time job position with JKL, and Will Smith chooses to pursue other opportunities. At that point, the process is complete. So this is a global opportunity. The proposed requirements at this point is we're looking to target 15 developers to be the initial pool of developers, and we'll be making invitations out to 15 developers that we consider to be quality developers. We're asking that developers that participate or designers be skilled in what's called full stack JavaScript, which is MongoDB, Node.js, AngularJS, Express, WebRTC. Well, this is outside the full stack JavaScript, but WebRTC, JavaScript, of course, telephony is desirable, and security. We're also encouraging designers to participate, and it could be that 3 people get together and take on a bounty and one of them is a designer, one of them is a front-end developer, one of them is a back-end developer. And that's a pretty rounded team to handle a chunk of development and give it the full coverage of front-end, back-end, and designer talents sets. So the other part is if the developer/designer is awarded a virtual address, then the request is that to keep that virtual address, you attend at least 2 PhoneWord workshops per quarter, which is not a lot to ask. And again, we expect the development time for the committed to the project to be about 3 hours, and with a week to basically complete the project. And that's assuming that we have a $3,000 starting bounty level. Could be that the bounty levels will start higher with an expectation that the work product will take longer. So that's the bounty program in a nutshell. This is designed to be an innovative opportunity so that people can collaborate and create open source software together. It's also designed to foster innovation among not only the developers, but also among enterprises that are interested in leading edge web development and design techniques and capabilities. So that's basically it. What's your idea? What sort of ideas do you have? What would you like to work on? Are you interested in distinguishing yourself and your company? And to stay tuned and find out more, just go to www.phonewordworkshops.com, and that is the introduction to the PhoneWord Workshops bounty program. So I appreciate you tuning in today. Again, we will have another session a week from today, starting at 11 a.m. Eastern Time. There have been a number of invitations, emails that have gone out. It is the intention that we will actually start the first bounty project this coming Monday, October the 13th. And we are talking with some developers to be some of the first to have this opportunity. And then we'll be talking with potential sponsors as well. So if you have any feedback or questions, please contact me, Jay Carpenter, And you can, bear with me just a moment. All right. So you can contact me at jcarpenter@phonewordworkshops.com. You can also call at area code 602-228-4486. I appreciate your time and your interest. Please provide any feedback that you might have. Again, this is in the formative stages. This is a pilot program. We definitely welcome any feedback you might have, and we're interested in seeing how this can foster a collaborative community of innovation to provide open source software development and start to create a well-balanced community. So thank you for participating. Please tune in next week at 11 a.m. Wednesday, October the 15th, 2014. Have a great day.